What if I told you that the exhaustion you feel by 3 p.m., the muscle cramps that wake you up at night, and the anxious buzzing in your chest that won't switch off aren't things you have to live with, but signs of a single mineral deficiency that most people never think to fix? Not with a pill, not with an IV drip, but with snacks sitting in your pantry right now. And today, I'm going to show you 20 of them that can start calming your nervous system, relaxing your muscles, and restoring your energy almost as fast as you eat them. Stick around, because number 4 on this list is a 2-ingredient combination that ancient trade routes carried across entire continents because people intuitively knew it healed something in the body. And number 17 is a food most of us were taught to avoid that turns out to be one of the single richest sources of usable magnesium on the planet. Magnesium is involved in the function of hundreds of enzymes throughout the body. Everything from the way your heart maintains its rhythm to the way your muscles release tension after they contract. And yet, it's one of the most commonly underconsumed minerals in the modern diet, largely because the foods that concentrate it have quietly disappeared from the average plate. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we post new videos every week connecting cutting-edge nutrition science with the foods your body was built to thrive on. Let's get into it. Here are 20 magnesium-rich snacks that will heal you instantly, ranked from remarkable to absolutely extraordinary. 1. Dark chocolate pumpkin seed clusters. The ancient pairing rediscovered. Cacao and pumpkin seeds come from 2 completely different corners of the ancient world, but both were treasured for the same reason. The people who ate them regularly seemed calmer, stronger, and more resilient to stress. Mesoamerican cultures prized cacao as a sacred substance, reserved for warriors, priests, and ceremony. They didn't have a word for magnesium, but they understood that this dark, bitter bean did something to the body and the mind that ordinary food didn't. Modern biochemistry has since caught up. Cacao is one of the most magnesium-dense foods on Earth, and pumpkin seeds sit right alongside it. When you melt high cocoa dark chocolate over a bed of raw pumpkin seeds and let it set into crunchy clusters, you're combining 2 of nature's most concentrated magnesium sources into a single bite. Magnesium plays a direct role in regulating the neurotransmitters that calm the nervous system, including gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA, the same pathway that many anti-anxiety medications target. Research on cacao flavanols also shows measurable improvements in blood flow and vascular relaxation, which is part of why a piece of good dark chocolate can genuinely take the edge off a stressful afternoon. Studies on magnesium supplementation consistently link adequate intake with better sleep quality, reduced muscle tension, and improved mood stability. To make this snack, melt 70% or higher dark chocolate slowly over low heat. Stir in a generous handful of raw or lightly toasted pumpkin seeds. Spread the mixture thin on parchment paper and refrigerate until it snaps into clusters. This isn't a dessert dressed up as health food. It's one of the most efficient magnesium deliveries you can make in your own kitchen, and it happens to taste like a treat. Keep a batch in the refrigerator in an airtight container, and you'll find it lasts up to 2 weeks without losing its snap, which makes it one of the more sustainable habits on this entire list, rather than a one-time experiment. 2. Sea-salted roasted pumpkin seeds. The single richest common snack source. If you remember only one food from this entire list, make it this one. Pumpkin seeds, also called pepitas, are the standout magnesium source among everyday snack foods, providing roughly 156 milligrams of magnesium per ounce, a meaningful percentage of the daily requirement in a single small handful. Traditional cultures across Mesoamerica used pumpkin seeds not just as food, but as medicine, grinding them into pastes used to support digestion and calm the body after illness. The mechanism behind their power is straightforward. Magnesium is a cofactor in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body, including the ones responsible for muscle relaxation, nerve signaling, and the production of ATP, the energy currency your cells run on. When magnesium is low, muscles cramp more easily, nerves misfire, and the body struggles to produce steady energy, which is part of why chronic fatigue and magnesium deficiency overlap so often in clinical research. A study on magnesium-rich seed consumption found measurable improvements in markers of muscle relaxation and reported sleep quality among participants who added a daily seed serving to their diet. Roast raw pumpkin seeds at 300 degrees for about 20 minutes with a drizzle of olive oil and a pinch of sea salt, stirring occasionally until golden. Keep a jar on the counter. This is the single easiest, cheapest, and most magnesium-dense snack swap you can make starting today. The adult recommended daily intake sits somewhere between 310 and 420 milligrams depending on age and sex, which means a single ounce of pumpkin seeds can cover roughly a third to half of what your body needs in one sitting, something almost no other common snack food can claim. 3. Almond butter banana bites. The potassium-magnesium partnership. Bananas get all the credit for potassium, but the real story here is what happens when you pair a banana with almond butter. Almonds are one of the richest tree nut sources of magnesium, and bananas contribute potassium, a mineral that works hand in hand with magnesium to regulate the electrical signals that control muscle contraction and heartbeat. This is not a minor detail. Potassium and magnesium are both electrolytes, and the body's cells depend on the correct balance between them to function normally. When either one runs low, the classic symptoms show up together: muscle cramps, irregular heartbeat sensations, and fatigue. Traditional diets built around whole fruit and nuts, rather than processed electrolyte drinks, delivered this combination naturally for thousands of years before anyone had a name for electrolyte balance. Clinical research on magnesium and potassium co-supplementation shows improved outcomes for muscle cramping and blood pressure regulation compared to supplementing either mineral alone. To make this snack, slice a banana into rounds, top each round with a small dollop of almond butter, and finish with a sprinkle of chia seeds for an additional magnesium boost. It takes under 2 minutes to prepare and delivers a genuinely synergistic mineral combination in every bite. It's also worth noting that this is one of the easiest snacks on the list to hand to children, since the flavor is naturally sweet and familiar, meaning the whole household can build better mineral habits without anyone feeling like they're eating a health food. 4. Dark chocolate-covered almonds. The trade route treasure. This is the pairing I promised you at the start, and it's worth pausing on because history backs it up in a striking way. Almonds traveled the ancient trade routes out of the Mediterranean and Central Asia for centuries, prized as a portable, shelf-stable source of sustained energy. Cacao made a similar journey out of Mesoamerica once European trade routes opened. When the two eventually met in confectionery traditions, something more than flavor was at work. Almonds are dense in magnesium, and the fat and fiber they contain slow the absorption of the natural sugars in dark chocolate, preventing the blood sugar spike that comes from chocolate alone. Magnesium itself plays a documented role in insulin sensitivity and glucose regulation, meaning a magnesium-rich snack can genuinely support more stable blood sugar than a sugar-only treat. Research published on nut consumption and metabolic health consistently associates regular almond intake with improved markers of insulin function and reduced inflammation. Coating raw or dry roasted almonds in melted high cocoa dark chocolate and chilling them until set gives you a portable, pantry-stable snack that provides magnesium, healthy fat, fiber, and antioxidant flavonols in a single handful. Keep a small jar at your desk for the 3 p.m. energy dip. It works on a biochemical level, not just a psychological one. Portion them out in advance into small snack bags rather than keeping the whole batch within arm's reach, since the point here is a steady mineral top-up throughout the day, not a single oversized serving that undoes the slow release benefit the almonds and fiber are working to provide. 5. Cashew and dried apricot trail mix. The sweet and mineral balance. Cashews don't get the magnesium reputation that almonds and pumpkin seeds enjoy, but they deserve a place on this list. Cashews contribute a meaningful dose of magnesium alongside copper and iron, two minerals that work alongside magnesium in the body's broader mineral network, particularly in oxygen transport and energy production. Dried apricots contribute their own smaller magnesium contribution along with potassium, rounding out the electrolyte profile of this mix. Nomadic and trading cultures across Central Asia and the Middle East relied on dried fruit and nut combinations, like this one for exactly the reason we're discussing today. They were dense, portable, shelf-stable, and kept people functioning on long journeys without access to fresh food. Modern research on trail mix style combinations shows that pairing nuts with dried fruit slows the blood sugar response compared to dried fruit alone, while still delivering a satisfying, naturally sweet snack. The magnesium and B vitamin content in this combination also supports the enzymatic pathways your body uses to convert food into usable energy, which is part of why a small handful can genuinely curb an energy slump. Combine raw cashews with unsulfured dried apricots in a roughly equal ratio and portion it into small containers for grab-and-go convenience. It travels as well today as it did on the ancient trade routes. Look for unsulfured apricots specifically, since the sulfur dioxide used to preserve color in conventional dried fruit offers no nutritional benefit and can trigger sensitivity in some people, undermining the very wellness goal this snack is meant to serve. 6. Chia seed pudding, the gel that feeds your nervous system. Chia seeds were a staple food of Aztec and Mayan diets, so valued that the word chia is believed to derive from the Mayan word for strength. Warriors and runners reportedly carried chia seeds as portable fuel, understanding empirically that a small amount sustained them for long stretches without heavy food. Modern nutritional analysis reveals part of why. Chia seeds are dense in magnesium, along with omega-3 fatty acids and a soluble fiber that forms a gel when soaked in liquid. That gel slows digestion, which means the magnesium and other nutrients in chia are released gradually, rather than all at once. Magnesium's role in nervous system regulation is well documented. It's required for the proper function of the NMDA receptors in the brain that, when overactive, contribute to the wired, anxious feeling many people associate with chronic stress. A steady, sustained magnesium supply throughout the day, rather than a single spike, supports more consistent nervous system regulation. To make chia pudding, combine chia seeds with milk of your choice in a roughly 1:4 ratio. Stir thoroughly and refrigerate overnight. In the morning, top with berries or sliced banana. It requires no cooking, keeps for days, and delivers a slow, steady magnesium release that mirrors how ancestral cultures actually used this seed, as sustained fuel, not a quick fix. Making a batch of 3 or 4 jars at once, each ready to grab from the refrigerator, turns this from an occasional treat into a genuine daily habit, which is really the whole point of everything covered in this video. 7. Avocado whole grain toast, the fat that unlocks mineral absorption. Avocados are best known for healthy fat, but they also provide a meaningful magnesium contribution, and just as importantly, the fat they contain improves the absorption of magnesium and other minerals from anything you eat alongside them. This is a detail most nutrition conversations skip entirely. Magnesium absorption in the digestive tract is influenced by the presence of dietary fat and the overall composition of a meal, not just the raw magnesium content of a single food. Whole grain bread contributes its own magnesium, since magnesium is concentrated in the bran and germ of the grain, the parts that are stripped away in refined white bread. Topping mashed avocado with a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds, as in this snack, layers 3 separate magnesium sources into one dish, while the avocado's fat content helps the body actually absorb what it's being given. Traditional whole grain sourdough and stone ground bread traditions preserved the mineral-rich bran that industrial milling later removed, which is part of why processed white bread diets are so strongly associated with lower dietary magnesium intake in modern population studies. Mash half an avocado onto a slice of dense whole grain or sourdough bread, season with salt, pepper, and a squeeze of lemon, and finish with a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds. It's a savory snack that quietly stacks 3 magnesium sources into a single, simple dish. If you can find a true sourdough loaf made through slow fermentation rather than a commercial yeast shortcut, the fermentation process itself has been shown in research to further improve mineral bioavailability by breaking down some of the phytic acid that would otherwise bind minerals in the grain. 8. Edamame with sea salt. The whole soybean advantage. Edamame, young soybeans steamed in the pod, have been a staple snack across East Asia for generations, valued long before anyone understood the specific mineral content driving their reputation as a restorative food. Edamame provides a genuinely protein-rich, magnesium-containing snack, and unlike many processed soy products, it arrives in its whole, minimally processed form, which preserves more of its natural mineral and fiber content. Magnesium and protein work together in the body in an underappreciated way. Protein synthesis itself, the process your body uses to repair and build tissue, requires magnesium as a cofactor. This means a snack that pairs the two, like edamame, supports both mineral replenishment and the muscle repair process simultaneously, which is part of why edamame has traditionally been a popular post-exercise and recovery food in the cultures that eat it regularly. Steam edamame pods for 5 to 6 minutes. Toss with flaky sea salt while still warm, and eat directly from the pod. If you've been reaching for protein bars or shakes after activity, this whole food alternative delivers a comparable protein contribution alongside a magnesium boost that most processed recovery products don't provide, and without the added sugars, emulsifiers, and artificial sweeteners that many packaged recovery products rely on to make up for what they lack nutritionally. If you're noticing the pattern here, that magnesium works through your muscles, your nerves, your energy production, and your sleep all at once, then do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It helps this video reach people who are genuinely looking for science-backed answers about fatigue, stress, and everyday nutrition. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe and ring the bell. We cover nutrition, longevity, and evidence-based wellness every single week, and I'd love to have you as part of this community. Now, let's keep going. 9. Peanut butter oat energy bites. The blood sugar stabilizer, rolled oats carry their own magnesium contribution, concentrated in the outer layers of the grain, much like whole wheat, and when combined with peanut butter and chia seeds, the resulting snack becomes a small but genuinely functional magnesium delivery system. The mechanism worth understanding here is the relationship between magnesium and blood sugar regulation. Magnesium is required for the proper function of the insulin receptor, and chronically low magnesium status has been associated in research with impaired glucose tolerance and increased insulin resistance over time. A snack that combines complex carbohydrates from oats, healthy fat and protein from peanut butter, and additional magnesium and fiber from chia seeds creates a slow, steady blood sugar response rather than a spike and crash, which matters because magnesium itself is more efficiently utilized by the body when blood sugar is stable. To prepare energy bites, mix rolled oats, peanut butter, chia seeds, and a small drizzle of honey until the mixture holds together. Roll into bite-sized balls and refrigerate for at least 30 minutes before eating. They keep in the refrigerator for about a week, making them one of the most convenient grab-and-go options on this entire list. Many people find these bites particularly useful in the mid-morning window, when blood sugar naturally begins to dip after breakfast, since the slow-digesting combination of oats and peanut butter tends to prevent the crash that a sugary snack would cause at the same hour. 10. Spinach and egg muffins. The leafy green concentrate. Leafy greens, and spinach in particular, have long been recognized as a magnesium-dense food, since magnesium sits at the center of the chlorophyll molecule that gives plants their green color. Every green leafy vegetable is, quite literally, built around a magnesium atom. Traditional agrarian diets built around seasonal greens delivered a steady magnesium intake that modern diets, increasingly built around processed and refined foods, often fail to replicate. Pairing spinach with eggs adds a complete protein source and a small additional magnesium contribution, while the fat in the egg yolk supports absorption of the fat-soluble nutrients found in the greens. Research on chlorophyll-rich vegetable intake consistently links higher consumption with better markers of inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which place additional demand on the body's magnesium reserves when elevated. To make these muffins, whisk eggs with chopped spinach, a pinch of salt, and any additional vegetables you like. Pour into a greased muffin tin and bake at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes until set. They store well in the refrigerator for up to 5 days, making them a portable, savory, protein and magnesium-rich snack you can prepare once and eat all week. Batch preparing a dozen at once on a Sunday afternoon means you always have a mineral-dense grab-and-go option available on busy weekday mornings, when a nutrient-poor pastry or nothing at all would otherwise fill that gap. 11. Black bean and avocado dip. The plant-based mineral duo. Legumes have quietly been one of the most overlooked magnesium sources in modern nutrition conversations, and black beans are among the better contributors in that category. Combined with avocado, which brings its own magnesium content along with absorption-enhancing fat, this dip becomes a genuinely functional snack rather than just a flavorful one. Traditional Central and South American diets built around beans, corn, and avocado sustained entire populations for centuries on a plant-forward foundation, and modern nutritional analysis of these traditional dietary patterns consistently shows adequate and often superior mineral intake compared to more processed modern diets. The fiber in black beans also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and a healthy gut microbiome plays an underappreciated role in overall mineral absorption, including magnesium, since gut inflammation can measurably impair how efficiently minerals are taken up in the digestive tract. Blend black beans with avocado, a squeeze of lime, cumin, and a pinch of salt until smooth, and serve with whole grain crackers or fresh vegetable sticks. It's a dip that does double duty, a satisfying snack, and a legitimate contributor to your daily magnesium total. Batch make a large bowl at the start of the week, since it keeps well refrigerated for 4 to 5 days and only improves in flavor as the lime and spices settle into the beans overnight. 12. Greek yogurt with almonds and cacao. The layered recovery snack. Plain Greek yogurt on its own doesn't carry a notable magnesium content, but topped with sliced almonds and cacao nibs, it becomes a genuinely layered magnesium source, while the yogurt itself contributes protein and probiotics that support the gut environment. Magnesium absorption depends on cacao nibs, the least processed form of chocolate available, retain more of the mineral content that gets diluted in candy bar-style chocolate products. Almonds contribute their now familiar magnesium density alongside vitamin E and healthy fat. Traditional Mediterranean and Middle Eastern food cultures have long paired dairy, nuts, and fruit as an everyday snack pattern, and this combination reflects that same logic through a modern nutritional lens. Research on probiotic-rich dairy consumption shows associations with improved gut barrier function, and a healthier gut barrier is directly linked to better absorption of dietary minerals, magnesium included. Top a bowl of plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt with a small handful of sliced almonds, a spoonful of cacao nibs, and fresh fruit if desired. It's a snack that feeds your gut, your muscles, and your nervous system in the same bowl. Choose full-fat plain yogurt over the flavored, low-fat varieties whenever possible, since the added sugar in flavored versions works against the steady blood sugar profile that makes this snack effective in the first place, and the fat content actually supports better absorption of everything layered on top. 13. Tahini apple slices. The sesame secret. Tahini, the paste made from ground sesame seeds, has been a staple of Middle Eastern and Mediterranean cuisine for thousands of years. And sesame seeds themselves are one of the more concentrated plant-based magnesium sources available, though their small size means most people never eat enough of them on their own to notice. Blending them into tahini makes that magnesium content far easier to consume in a meaningful quantity. Pairing tahini with crisp apple slices adds fiber and natural sweetness, and the combination of fat from the tahini with the fiber in the apple slows sugar absorption in a way that supports stable energy rather than a quick spike. Traditional use of tahini in the region where it originated often paired it with fruit or drizzled it over vegetables, specifically as an everyday snack rather than an occasional indulgence, reflecting an intuitive understanding of its nutritional density long before magnesium content was ever measured in a lab. Slice an apple into wedges, drizzle generously with tahini, and finish with a dusting of cinnamon, which research suggests may offer its own modest benefit for blood sugar regulation. It's a 5-minute snack with a genuinely ancient pedigree. Look for raw or lightly toasted tahini rather than versions with added sugar or hydrogenated oils, since the whole point of this pairing is letting the sesame seeds' natural mineral content do the work without dilution. 14. Roasted chickpeas with pumpkin seeds. The crunchy legume upgrade. Chickpeas have sustained Mediterranean and Middle Eastern populations for millennia, and they carry a meaningful magnesium contribution alongside fiber and plant-based protein. Roasting chickpeas until crisp transforms them into a satisfying, crunchy snack that fills the same craving as chips or crackers, while delivering a substantially different nutritional profile. Combining roasted chickpeas with pumpkin seeds layers two legitimate magnesium sources into a single snack bowl, and the combined fiber content from both ingredients supports the slow, steady digestion that helps the body utilize magnesium efficiently rather than rushing it through the system. Research on legume consumption consistently associates regular intake with improved markers of cardiovascular health and reduced inflammation, both of which are relevant here since chronic inflammation is known to increase the body's magnesium requirements, while simultaneously making magnesium harder to retain. To prepare this snack, toss cooked and dried chickpeas with olive oil and your preferred seasoning. Roast at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes until crisp, and combine with roasted pepitas once cooled. Store in an airtight container for a crunchy, mineral-dense alternative to processed snack foods. This combination works particularly well as a replacement for chips at the exact moments when the craving for something salty and crunchy tends to strike hardest, without leaving you with the sluggish, bloated feeling that a bag of fried potato chips often does. 15. Oatmeal with almond butter. The slow-release combination. We touched on oats briefly with the energy bites, but a simple bowl of oatmeal deserves its own place on this list because of how effectively it can be built into a magnesium-focused snack in its own right. Oats provide a steady, complex carbohydrate magnesium contribution, and swirling in almond butter adds a second concentrated source, along with healthy fat that slows digestion further. A small addition of chia seeds on top layers in a third magnesium source and additional fiber. The mechanism worth highlighting here is magnesium's role in supporting restful sleep when eaten as an evening snack, since magnesium contributes to the regulation of melatonin production and supports the parasympathetic nervous system activity associated with winding down. Traditional evening porridge and grain-based snacks appear across many food cultures, specifically as a bedtime ritual, long before anyone connected that habit to mineral content and sleep biology. Prepare a small bowl of oatmeal using your preferred cooking method. Swirl in a spoonful of almond butter while still warm, and top with a sprinkle of chia seeds. Eaten an hour or two before bed, it's a genuinely functional addition to a wind-down routine, and one that costs a fraction of what a sleep supplement or nighttime tea blend typically runs, using ingredients most people already keep stocked in the pantry. 16. Dark chocolate chia bark, the mineral-dense confection. This snack takes the magnesium density of dark chocolate and layers two additional concentrated sources directly into it: chia seeds and pumpkin seeds, creating what amounts to one of the most mineral-dense treats on this entire list. Spreading high cocoa dark chocolate thin before chilling also means each piece delivers a meaningful dose of magnesium without requiring a large portion, since the seeds are distributed throughout every bite rather than concentrated at the bottom of a bowl. The combination of cacao flavonols, chia-derived omega-3 fatty acids, and pumpkin seed magnesium reflects the same underlying principle we've returned to throughout this list. Magnesium works best alongside the cofactors and complementary compounds that whole foods naturally provide, rather than in isolation. Research on combined mineral and antioxidant intake continues to support the idea that whole food nutrient combinations produce more consistent physiological benefits than any single isolated compound. To make this bark, melt dark chocolate and spread it thin on parchment paper. Sprinkle generously with chia seeds and pumpkin seeds. Chill until firm and break into pieces. Keep it in the refrigerator for a satisfying, mineral-rich alternative to store-bought candy. Break it into irregular, rustic pieces rather than uniform squares, since the uneven shards make it easier to portion out a reasonable serving without the temptation to reach for more than you intended. 17. Whole grain crackers with hummus. The food most of us were told to avoid. Reconsidered. This is the snack I mentioned at the start of the video. One that surprises people because whole grains have spent the last few decades caught in the crossfire of shifting dietary trends. But whole grain crackers made from unrefined flour retain the bran and germ layers of the grain, which is exactly where the plant's magnesium content is concentrated. Refining flour strips away those layers, along with the majority of the grain's mineral content, which is a significant part of why population studies consistently find lower average magnesium intake in diets built around refined grain products. Pairing whole grain crackers with chickpea-based hummus, itself a magnesium contributor, creates a convenient, shelf-stable snack combination that delivers a meaningful magnesium total in a form most people already have sitting in their kitchen. Traditional whole grain baking, going back to stone ground flour used across ancient Mediterranean and Middle Eastern bread making, preserved this mineral density as a matter of necessity, long before industrial milling made refined white flour the modern default. Choose crackers made from whole wheat, whole rye, or ancient grains rather than refined white flour, and paired generously with hummus for a simple, convenient, genuinely magnesium-rich snack. Reading the ingredient label matters more here than with almost any other item on this list, since many products marketed as multigrain or wheat still start with refined flour as the primary ingredient, quietly stripping out the very mineral content you're trying to restore. 18. Avocado cacao pudding, the dessert that heals. Blending avocado with unsweetened cacao powder creates a rich, pudding-like texture, while combining two separate magnesium sources into a single dessert-style snack. The avocado's fat content improves the absorption of the flavonols and minerals in the cacao, while a small amount of maple syrup rounds out the flavor without requiring the large amounts of refined sugar found in conventional pudding. This combination reflects a broader pattern worth naming directly. Some of the most effective magnesium-rich snacks on this list double as genuinely satisfying treats, which matters because a sustainable dietary change is one that doesn't feel like deprivation. Research on cacao flavonols shows benefits for vascular relaxation and blood pressure regulation, while avocado's fat profile is separately associated with improved markers of cardiovascular health, meaning this dessert-style snack contributes to the same underlying systems magnesium itself supports. Blend one ripe avocado with unsweetened cacao powder, a splash of milk, and a small amount of maple syrup until completely smooth, then chill for at least an hour before eating. It looks and tastes like an indulgence, but the mineral profile behind it tells a different story. Served in small glass jars with a few fresh raspberries on top, it also happens to be an easy way to introduce a genuinely nutrient-dense dessert to children or skeptical family members who might otherwise turn their nose up at anything labeled healthy. 19. Almond-stuffed dates, the desert traveler's snack. Dates have sustained desert-dwelling populations across the Middle East and North Africa for thousands of years, prized for their dense natural sugars, fiber, and mineral content in a form that survives long journeys without refrigeration. Stuffing a date with a whole almond or a small amount of almond butter layers the date's own magnesium and potassium contribution with the concentrated magnesium found in almonds, while the fiber in both ingredients slows the absorption of the date's natural sugar. This is a combination that traditional desert trading cultures relied on instinctively, long before anyone understood the specific mineral synergy at work. Dense, portable, shelf-stable, and capable of restoring energy quickly during physically demanding travel. Research on date consumption highlights their potassium and magnesium content as relevant contributors to healthy blood pressure regulation and muscle function, both of which align with everything we've covered about magnesium's broader role in the body. To make this snack, slice a pitted date lengthwise, insert a whole almond or a small spoonful of almond butter, and finish with a pinch of sea salt if desired. It takes seconds to prepare and carries thousands of years of practical wisdom behind it. Medjool dates work particularly well here because their larger size and softer texture make room for a generous almond filling, but any variety will do if you adjust the portion of almond butter accordingly. 20. Magnesium Power Trail Mix. Every source combined. And here we are. Number 20. The snack I saved for last because it represents the most complete possible combination of everything we've discussed. This trail mix combines pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, peanuts, cacao nibs, and a modest amount of dried fruit, bringing together nearly every major magnesium source covered in this video into a single, portable mix. The layered logic here mirrors the traditional trail mix and journey food traditions found across nearly every culture that has ever needed portable, shelf-stable nutrition. Nomadic herders, mountain travelers, desert traders, and seafaring communities all independently arrived at some version of a nut and dried fruit combination because it worked, long before anyone could explain exactly why. Modern nutritional analysis confirms what those traditions discovered empirically. Combining multiple whole food magnesium sources with healthy fat, fiber, and a modest amount of natural sugar produces a snack that delivers sustained energy, supports muscle and nerve function, and satisfies hunger far more effectively than any single processed snack food can. Combine equal parts pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, and peanuts. Add a modest handful of cacao nibs and a small portion of dried fruit, and portion the mix into small containers for the week ahead. If you only make one snack from this entire list a regular habit, this is the one built to cover every angle at once. Store it in an airtight container away from direct sunlight and heat, since the fats in the nuts and cacao nibs can turn rancid faster than most people expect. And a fresh batch every couple of weeks ensures you're getting the full mineral and flavor benefit every single time you reach for a handful. If you made it all the way here, you've just received a complete, science-backed blueprint for restoring your magnesium levels from every direction. Let me leave you with the framework. Reach for concentrated whole food sources first. Pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, and dark chocolate. Layer in the muscle and nerve support of chia seeds, spinach, and edamame. Use fat-rich foods like avocado and tahini to help your body actually absorb what you're feeding it. Round it out with the fiber and slow-digesting carbohydrates in oats, chickpeas, and whole grains to keep your energy steady rather than spiking and crashing. And don't underestimate the combination snacks, the trail mixes and stuffed dates that pull several of these sources together at once. Because that's exactly the pattern traditional food cultures relied on long before anyone measured a single milligram of magnesium in a lab. This isn't a supplement protocol. This is a food strategy, and it's available to anyone at any age starting today. Smash that like button if this video changed the way you think about the snacks in your kitchen. Drop a comment below and tell me which one you're trying first. Are you team pumpkin seeds, team dark chocolate, or team trail mix? I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, click that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We're building a community that takes nutrition seriously, evidence-based, practical, and deeply connected to how the body actually works. Because sometimes the fastest path back to feeling like yourself again isn't a prescription, it's a handful of the right snack. Start small if this feels overwhelming. Pick 2 or 3 from this list that sound the most appealing to you right now. Keep them stocked and visible in your kitchen this week, and let the habit build naturally from there, rather than trying to overhaul everything overnight. And now, you know exactly which ones to reach for.